Good afternoon, Lions Nation. The roar grows louder every week, and our belief never stops rising. Before we dive into this journey together, I kindly ask you to smash that like button. It makes our pride even stronger. And if you can, drop a comment with the power of a lion. Go Lions, I believe. Let's go, because this season is ours. What if I told you that the national media is finally starting to take the Detroit Lions seriously? Yet inside Allen Park, the conversations are way more intense, way more raw than the power rankings will ever show. Let's get into it, because the build-up to this weekend's clash with the Cleveland Browns is loaded with drama, high stakes, and a whole lot of respect that has been earned on the field. The sportsbooks already have their say. Detroit opens as a massive 9.5-point favorite, the second biggest line of the entire week across the NFL. Think about that for a second. Only the Buffalo Bills are bigger favorites against New Orleans. That's how far this team has come. Vegas looks at the Browns and says, sure, they've got maybe the best defense in the league, but the Lions are at home, Ford Field is rocking, and Detroit's offense is a straight-up juggernaut. Even the total points line, set at just 44.5, tells the story. Defenses are supposed to rule this matchup, but everyone knows Dan Campbell's crew can tilt that balance fast. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Dan Campbell stepped up to the mic this week, and his words weren't soft, weren't sugar-coated. He was asked about second-year corner Tyrion Arnold, and you could feel the honesty. Campbell didn't hide the struggles. He said Arnold is young, still working, and that growth takes time. But he also made it clear, this is Detroit, this is a Super Bowl window, and the corners here are expected to play on an island. That's the reality. You either answer the bell or the staff finds someone who will. That's why names like Amick Robertson came up. Campbell admitted they'll mix it up if they have to. That's accountability at its highest level. Fans saw it too. Arnold gave up that touchdown last week, and it wasn't an isolated moment. The last couple games have been rough. But here's the thing. He showed flashes in training camp, he has the tools, and this is where Campbell's challenge becomes a turning point. Do you rise up, or do you get passed on the depth chart? Detroit is not here to wait forever. The standard is winning now, and while all eyes lock on Arnold, the front office is still turning over every rock. Reports from Richard Silva of the Detroit News confirmed that defensive lineman Quinton Jefferson visited the team. A 6'4", 290-pound veteran now in his 10th NFL season, Jefferson brings experience and versatility inside. Last season, he logged 5 solo tackles and 2 sacks. Those aren't superstar numbers, but this is about depth, insurance, and competition. Brad Holmes has made a living finding value in these moves. Just look at the
production they squeezed out of free agent signings last year. With Alan McNeil and Josh Paschal both working their way back from injured reserve, it makes sense to explore every option. Bring a guy in, let him learn the playbook, and if injuries hit again, he's ready. This isn't desperation. This is smart roster management from a front office that has consistently gotten it right. And then there's Jared Goff. Say his name with respect. Dan Campbell couldn't hold back his praise, and honestly, neither should anyone else. Goff has been surgical this year. Through just a few weeks, he's sitting at 761 yards, 7 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. That's tied for second in the league in scores, second in QBR at 79.4, and near the top in efficiency. Calm in the pocket, precise with his reads, and absolutely clutch in critical moments. Campbell flat out said no one is playing the position better right now. Yet the narratives outside Detroit just won't die. He's not mobile. He can't play in the cold. He's only as good as his coach. But Goff has already shredded those doubts. Remember Green Bay last year? Ugly weather, tough conditions, and he still dropped dimes. This season he's proving again and again that he's more than just a system quarterback. He's the leader of a team with legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. All of that momentum is now being recognized nationally. Power rankings that used to bury the Lions are finally climbing. The Athletic and Yahoo Sports both have Detroit at number 5. NFL.com bumped them up to number 3 after that massive win in Baltimore. Sports Illustrated and The Ringer also at 3. Even ESPN put Detroit 3rd in their rankings. The only holdout is CBS's Pete Prisco, who seems to swing his lists wildly week to week. He had the Lions all the way at 12 before nudging them up 6 spots. But the point is clear. Detroit is in the national conversation, and it's no fluke. Beating the Ravens in their own house turned heads, and now this stretch heading into the bye week looks like a golden opportunity. Beat the Browns, take care of business against the Bengals and Steelers, and suddenly 6-1 at the break isn't just a dream, it's reality. That's where we stand right now. A team with firepower on offense, a head coach who refuses to lower the standard, a front office always searching for the next piece, and a quarterback playing the best ball of his career. This weekend, Ford Field is going to be electric. But I want to know what you think. Do the Lions keep rolling and handle the Browns, or does Cleveland's defense slow down this train? Drop your take in the comments right now. L for Lions, B for Browns. And here's the thing that makes this moment even more thrilling for Lions fans. The stakes aren't just about winning another regular season game. They're about setting a tone for the entire league. Detroit has clawed its way into the national spotlight, but staying there means proving that this isn't a fluke, that every Sunday they can impose their will no matter who lines up across from them. That's what makes the Browns matchup fascinating. Yes, Cleveland brings in a defense that's been called the best in football, but the reality is their offense has sputtered. And if you're looking for a team that thrives on exposing weaknesses, it's the Lions. At Ford Field, with that roar behind them, you can almost feel the confidence building that this is another statement opportunity. Dan Campbell's handling of Tyrion Arnold only adds fuel to the fire. He's not hiding from the hard truths. He's saying exactly what every fan already knows. If you want to play cornerback in Detroit, you better be ready to live on an island. Campbell's tone was crystal clear. We drafted you high because we believed you could do this. If you stumble, we coach you up. But if you don't rise, someone else will take your snaps. That's not cruelty. That's championship-level accountability. And honestly, it's refreshing. Every fan watching saw Arnold get burned for that touchdown. Everyone felt that frustration. Now you hear the head coach echo it, while still holding out belief that the kid can grow. That's leadership. Challenge your young players, make them fight, and the ones who respond become difference makers when the games get even bigger in December and January. And while we're talking about difference makers, let's revisit Jared Goff because the numbers tell one story, but the eye test tells an even bigger one. Look at how calm he is under pressure. Look at the way he moves defenders with his eyes, the way he places the ball where only his guy can grab it. Those aren't stats. Those are instincts honed over years of battles. This is a quarterback who has heard the noise, too slow, too dependent on coaches, too soft in the cold, and decided to silence it with performance. And now, his teammates feed off that calmness. When the game is on the line, there's no panic in the huddle, because Goff's voice doesn't waver. That's what you need in January football. That's why Dan Campbell keeps saying no one is playing the position better right now. It's not hype, it's fact. Now, let's circle back to the bigger picture, because the national respect is pouring in, and it's deserved. For years, Lions fans have been begging for the recognition that the grind, the growth, and the grit deserved. After that huge win in Baltimore, it's finally here. Top 5 in nearly every major power ranking. 3rd overall in multiple outlets. No longer just a feel-good story, but a legitimate powerhouse being talked about alongside the likes of Kansas City, Buffalo, and San Francisco. But here's the kicker. Inside the locker room, none of that matters. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes aren't building a team to win headlines. They're building a team to win trophies. That's why they're still bringing in veterans like Quentin Jefferson, still searching every corner of the league for players who can give them an edge. That's why Campbell won't hesitate to shuffle his defensive backs if it makes the group stronger. This isn't about comfort. It's about climbing all the way to the top. And fans, this is where you come in. This is where the ride gets fun. Because every game from here on out isn't just a test. It's a chance to prove something. Beat the Browns, and suddenly 6-1 at the bye is staring us in the face. That's not a fantasy. That's a reality we haven't seen in decades. That's why the excitement is different this year. That's why every snap feels bigger. Every drive feels like history in the making. You can almost hear it, the roar echoing through Ford Field, not just for one game, but for a team rewriting its entire narrative. So now it's your turn. You've heard the lines. You've seen the stats. You've watched the growth and the grit. Do you believe this team keeps rolling and puts Cleveland in the rearview mirror? Or do you think the Browns defense has what it takes to slow down the hottest quarterback in football and the most balanced roster Detroit has fielded in years? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. L for Lions, B for Browns. I want to know where you stand, because this isn't just about watching history, it's about being part of it. And when you really stop and think about it, this moment feels like the culmination of everything Lions fans have been waiting for. Decades of heartbreak, seasons that ended too soon, narratives that painted Detroit as an afterthought, those days are fading. What you're seeing now is a franchise that not only believes in itself, but demands that the rest of the league take notice. That's why every little storyline, whether it's Tyrion Arnold's growth, Quentin Jefferson's visit, or Jared Goff's elite level of play, matters. Because together they form the bigger picture, a team that is deep, resilient, and built to last. Even the odds makers can't ignore it anymore. A 9.5-point spread in the NFL is massive, and for the Lions to be favored by that much against a team with Cleveland's defense says everything about how far Detroit has come. And that home field advantage at Ford Field? It's no longer just a boost. It's a weapon. Opposing teams walk into that building knowing they're about to get hit not only by a relentless Lions offense, but by 65,000 roaring fans who believe, truly believe, that this team is destined for something bigger. The question now is consistency. Can the Lions keep this same edge week after week? Can young players like Arnold take coaching to heart and elevate their game when it matters most? Can the veterans hold the standard and push this team through the grind of the season? All signs point to yes, but nothing in the NFL is guaranteed. And that's what makes it so captivating. Every Sunday is a new chapter, and every play is a chance to either cement this team's place among the elite or give critics a chance to crawl back out of the shadows. Fans, this is why it's so important to enjoy the ride. You're not just watching games, you're watching the story of a franchise being rewritten in real time. From a laughingstock to a powerhouse, from doubted to respected, from the outside looking into standing tall among the best. That's Detroit football right now. So as we head into this weekend, let me throw it back to you one more time. Are you ready to see this team protect home turf, prove the odds makers right, and send the Browns back with an L? Or do you think Cleveland's defense is about to make things tougher than we expect? Let me know in the comments. L for Lions, B for Browns, because your voice, your energy, and your passion are just as much a part of this story as the players on the field.